Welcome everyone to ISKCON of Silicon Valley. We started here about 1999 and have been in various places. We feel that if you're able to find ISKCON of Silicon Valley, then you must have above average IQ because we've moved so many times. And our purpose of being here at Silicon Valley is to be in the center of activity. We feel that although there's industry going on here in the way of high-tech development, it's missing a soul. And although there's some feeling for spiritual endeavors, there's not a clear path that gives a universal access to people. So based on the teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who's Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who appeared over 500 years ago and passed down his teachings through a line of great teachers like Srila Rupa Goswami, Srila Jiva Goswami, Sanatan Goswami. There's a discernible chain of gurus and disciples. Guru means someone who's heavy with knowledge, and a disciple means someone who's disciplined enough to learn. And in fact, it means that in Latin. A disciple means a learner. So there is a system that is universal. There's easy access, and it's represented, we represent that by keeping this center open and offering the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita and other books like the Srimad Bhagavatam, and also advocating for the process of devotional service, which begins simply by hearing and chanting. So, thank you for braving the storm today. It's quite beautiful out, isn't it? We saw a double rainbow on the way here, and it's nice to see the plants getting a nice bath and getting any extra leaves knocked off. It's quite dramatic weather here for California. So today I have a few slides that I'd like to show you. And they have to do with a principle that's in the Bhagavad Gita. So before we launch into this slideshow, I'd like to offer my respects to my spiritual masters, Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and to all of you who are present here today to practice devotional service. Thank you very much. Now, if I remember correctly, down means forward. But I think it has to be up first before I can move. Better keep going, yeah. Well, look at that. The Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. As I was mentioning, there's a process that's recommended. It's a universal process. The spiritual basis of this is that the names of Krishna, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, are non-different from him. And in his teachings, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who I mentioned a moment ago, is Krishna himself in the form of a devotee teaching how to practice devotional service. He gave 8 very concise, progressive teachings about devotional service. And he said, Nam Nam Akari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatrarpita Niyamahita Smaranayina Kala. And this means primarily that the names of Krishna or God are the same as him. There's no difference at all. When we say Hare Krishna, then Krishna is personally present in his name. And because Krishna is all pure, sapare gachchukram makayam avranam ashnaviram shudham apapavidham kavir manishi paribhu swayambur yatat yatitor tam vyarada byasamabhyaha. He's known to be the supreme pure. Anyone who comes in contact with Krishna becomes purified. One might ask, how might I become purified? I seem to be mired in ignorance and subjected to, or I subject myself to bad habits. It's hard to come out of it. So the ancient scriptures answer by associating with Krishna. If you can come close to Krishna, then just by his presence you'll be purified. And so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said there are many names of Krishna, and all of them are endowed with his personal potencies. Nija Sarva Shaktis. Nija means personal. It means there's no difference between the name and him. And Sarva Shakti means all his potency. It's not that it's a representative sample. It's that it's a direct connection to Krishna when you say Hare Krishna. So this mantra is written in the vocative form, which means that it's an expression of prayer. Like you'd say, "Oh my God." Does anybody ever say that? To you? Or do you say it? If something happens that's shocking, you say, "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God." So this Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare. It's an expression like this. And Hare means the divine energy of the Lord that's personified in Srimati Radharani, who's the greatest of devotees. Krishna means the all-attractive. Have you heard the word charisma before? Then say Hare Charisma. Say Hare Charisma 3 times. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Charisma, Krishna, Hare Hare. It's pretty close. I look up the word charisma. Charisma has a similar meaning, Krishna. Krishna means that person who's all attractive. Everything we're looking for. Have you ever come across somebody who's so attractive you couldn't not look? Yeah? Only a couple people. I must live in a different world. Okay. Yeah, Krishna's like that. Nobody can take their eyes off him. In any of his incarnations, but especially Krishna, he's known to be so beautiful that it's impossible not to look at him. Okay, what's charisma? Our research department, your funding got cut off and they won't give you a microphone now for the research department. We'll have to renew the request to fund your department over here.
Charisma means a special spiritual gift or power divinely...
Special spiritual gift. Say it a little more dramatically.
Special spiritual gift or power divinely conferred, talent from God.
Yeah. One more time.
Special spiritual gift.
Special spiritual gift.
Or power divinely conferred.
Or power divinely conferred.
Talent from God.
Talent from God. Little more.
It comes from the Latinized form of Greek charisma, which means favor or divine gift, which comes from charistai, which means to show favor to, or grace, beauty, and kindness.
Grace, beauty, and kindness. I think the world needs a little more grace, beauty, and kindness. What do you think? Yes. Grace, beauty, kindness. Yeah, Krishna's all of that. He's the source of grace, beauty, kindness. Yes? We've got more.
Yeah, there is one more, I think, which will...
Close.
It says compelling attractiveness or charm that can inspire devotion in others.
See what I'm saying? It's an example of what I'm talking about. So Krishna means all this. It means inimitable beauty and charm, attractiveness that catches us. And within that experience of beatitude is a sense of being so taken by the aesthetic of someone or something that we go into rapture. Rapture means to be wrapped in attention, and we're just absorbed in it. In the spiritual world, those who are in association with Krishna are experiencing this rapture in seeing Krishna, being with Krishna, everything about Krishna and the place that he lives induces rapture. So that's the meaning of Krishna. Grace, beauty, kindness, all emanates from Krishna. So then the word Rama. Ramante yogino inante inanda chiratmani iti Rama padenasu. The Vedas say that the great sages, they seek Rama. It means that they want the pleasure that comes directly from God, not the indirect energies of God, but the direct energy of God, or God himself, is Rama, which means that that one experiences the highest kind of pleasure. It's a pleasure beyond what we could experience here in the material world. As the beginning stages of this, they're mentioned in the 6th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna talks about a person who's beginning to is experiencing the touch of the divine in the form of Brahman, or just the internal but amorphous energy of the Lord, which is called Brahman. He said that they feel that there's no greater gain. Anything in the material world that we try to enjoy gives us a sense of incomplete pleasure. Bhogaishvarya prasaktanam taya prahita chetasam. Vyavasayatmaka buddhir. There's a way that the mind becomes unsettled by looking at the pleasurable or attractive energies of the material world, the external energy. We never quite feel satisfied, but even a glimpse of the spiritual energy, the internal potency of the Lord, gives one this sense there's no greater gain than this. And having attained that touch of happiness from the spiritual energy, one abandons all other pursuits of happiness in the material world. Krishna describes this in the Gita also, where he says, Vishaya vinivartante nirahara sadehina rasavarjam rasopyasya. That there's a way that param drishtva, you see something that's so much better. Have you ever had that happen, even in the material world? Happened to me once on Christmas. I got a gift from my parents. You know, parents are supposed to get their kids gifts in America. You got to get them what they want. And of course, I got what I wanted, but my brothers looked much better. I'm still embarrassed to this very day when I think of it, how I cried after they gave me, and I thought his looks better. It's horrible. And there's a way when we see something better, we know it and we want it, but the touch of the spiritual energy is so much better. It's called param. It's incomparably better. It's so beyond the pleasure of the material world that there are various comparisons given quantitatively, like the pleasure of Brahman that I'm mentioning, just touching the glow of the spiritual world, the halo of Krishna and Radharani is really, it's so much better than material pleasure. It's compared to water within the hoofprint of a calf to an ocean. That's a lot, right? And the pleasure of Brahman compared to the pleasure of Rama, or being in service to the Supreme Person, makes that ocean look insignificant. There's millions of times more pleasure in the personal exchange with God. So he's called Rama. You can't estimate the pleasure that's available there. Sages can't figure it out, that there's no end to the pleasure. Whereas in the material world, Krishna says, Yehi samspashaja bhoga dukkha yonaya evate adyantavantakoteya. I'm leaving all the last lines to you today, just in case I forget them. So he says that the material nature is a fake out. You think you're going to get some pleasure from it, but you got to pay a price. And the price you pay is worse than going without, not taking it in the first place. There's a kind of result that makes you suffer from grabbing onto material things. That's quite well known, isn't it? Say yes. Yes. Yeah, but it's still hard to give up. Unless you have Rama pleasure, you have pleasure from the spiritual world. Then Krishna says, Vishaya vinivartante nirharata dehina. Many people restrain themselves from material pleasure because they realize that the day after is going to be horrible. And they don't want to suffer it again. Or the year after, or 10 years after, or whatever it is. It goes on, the suffering from touching the material energy. Yeah, when I used to travel with my parents, I remember we'd sometimes go by car and we'd stop in various places and go into a gift shop. If it was a gift shop that had priceless things in it, they say, no, don't touch anything. And there'd also, I saw recently, the place, if you break it, you bought it. And in the material world, you touch it, you bought it. Yeah. Try not to touch it. And there is a technique for not touching anything. Even though you're using it, you don't touch it because it has to do with the intention. That's a whole nother topic. But there's a way in which, by getting to Rama, the pleasure of Rama, then one very naturally and gracefully can eschew the so-called pleasures of the material world. It's embarrassing to get involved in the material world and be faked out just like everybody else. And then pretend like, well, I'm okay. So, no, you're not. So this chanting of the mantra, the Hare Krishna mantra, is packed full of spiritual power. This is what he's saying. Nam nam akari bahuda nija sarva shaktis. All the internal powers of God that we're searching for are already there within the mantra. So if you say them, then you'll feel it. You need that. We need that. Pratyakshavagamam dharmyam, Krishna says in the 9th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Spiritual life has to be directly experienced. You can't just theorize about it, because then you'll just go back to scrolling somewhere. You actually have to have something better, where you're getting fulfilled and you go, ooh, I don't want to see random images. I want to understand the philosophy of Krishna consciousness is so beautiful, and also I want a direct experience of Krishna's energies. Let's see what happens when I hit the button now. Okay, a few thoughts about reciprocation. And ye yata mam prapadyante tamstataiva bhajamyaham mama vartmanuvartante. This is a verse, it's quoted quite frequently. It's from the Bhagavad Gita, and it means that, well, Krishna's speaking, and he says, the way you approach me, the mood you approach me in, the intensity with which you approach me, that's how I'll reciprocate with you. And in general, Krishna's approach is very thoughtful. In the Gita, he says, Samaham sarva bhuteshu name dveshosti na priya. Ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya maite teshu chapyaham. And this means Krishna's saying that I'm equal to everyone. I don't judge anybody. Whatever you are into, I'll just let you go. and do it. Of course, he first, just like a good parent, would dissuade his devotee from. We're not specifically talking about Krishna's devotee in this verse. We're talking about all living entities. He gives all living entities, who really are devotees, they're part and parcel of Krishna, an opportunity to try their luck here in the material world. Have you ever been to a carnival? You come and try your luck. It's rigged. Don't do it. You never win. Yeah, same with Las Vegas. Any gambling place. It's horribly entangling the whole material world. So it's there to give the soul an opportunity to see what it's like, fully explore. How many species are there? Yeah, that's a lot of opportunity to try different kinds of bodies and see if you like it. And after you've been a beaver, an aardvark, a mongoose, how many kinds of, any entomologists in here? Anybody know what entomology is? Study of insects? Any entomologists in here? No? Not so much, huh? Insects, birds really think they're enjoying. But it all ends the same way. So Krishna gives opportunity to everyone. He says, Samaham sarvabhuteshu nami dveshosti na priya. He gives everyone equal chance. He doesn't despise what you do or what you become in the material world. He just lets you explore. But if you turn your attention to him, ye bhajanti, you give some indication that, Krishna, I think I like you better than trying to go it on my own. Ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya, and you become devoted to him. Then he says, then our relationship changes. And I become intimately connected with your life, personally and intimately connected with your life, and he reciprocates in that way. So in the material world, there's this sense of indifference to God. And actually, the statement, the opposite of love is not hatred, it's indifference, is from a person who was imprisoned in a Nazi Germany for many years and was deprived of so many things. At least if you give some harsh response, you might think, well, the person cares. But if you're indifferent, you just don't respond at all, then there's a sense of being detached from the person. So I had an experience once, I'm sure it's happened to me more than once, but there's one time in particular there's one time in particular when I noticed it more than other times, and that was when I was in San Francisco, and I was near Market and Powell, and I was distributing Bhagavad Gitas and other books, and when I'm doing that, I just enjoy making connections with people. I mean, we're all humans, right? We live in a city, we might as well get to know one another. So when people are walking about, I try to make a conscious connection with them. And this person was walking down the street, and I said hello, and he kept walking. And it wasn't that he didn't say, why don't you take a long walk off a short pier, or, quintessential angry, just any other quintessential angry response that one might get here in America. Not that we get that many, but he could have said, why don't you go to hell, or why don't you get a job? I used to hear that one a lot when I was a kid. Why don't you get a job? At least that was some free advice. But this guy, he just kept walking like I didn't exist. And there was I had a visceral response. He didn't look at me, didn't frown at me, didn't say, go away. He just kept walking, and as if I was talking into a void. And after he passed, I felt the darkness. of ignorance. Ignorance, you could also call ignorance. Anybody here have a relationship and you've ever gotten a spat? You know what a spat is, right? Like an argument, a quarrel. Nobody's had that? Okay. And then one or the others just stops talking. Have you ever heard of something like that? Are you going to come for lunch? No response. Ignorance. Ignorance. That's the quality of the material world, ignoring God. Let's invent a game where millions of people can watch, and then we'll have a big mela kicking a ball around, maybe smashing into each other, and pay people millions of dollars. And then we'll just do that instead of going to Mangalartik or chanting Hare Krishna. And then times that times all the people in the world and make up your own way to forget about the purpose of life. And there's a pall. What's a pall? You spell it P-A-L-L? Is that what it's spelled? Yeah? Did you get 1,600 on your SAT? Let's hear what a pall is, because I think it would relate to what I'm trying to say, the result of ignoring someone, and especially if that someone is the source of all other living entities and our well-wisher and our maintainer. What's a pall? Huh? Let's hear it.
Pall means become tiresome or insipid, a surviving, transferred, or figurative sense from the earlier meaning, become faint or fail in strength. And it means, it comes from Apollon, which means to dismay, fill with horror or disgust.
Is there anything else? Window? Dwindle. I was thinking in the sense that there's kind of a fog-like feeling. Yes?
It says a dark cloud or covering of...
Yeah, there it is. Dark cloud covering or covering.
A dark cloud or covering of smoke, dust, or similar matter.
Yeah, like that. There's a pall. Some dark clouds. A pall descends, and that's the material world. So darkness, it blocks out the light because of this reaction to ignoring our source, Krishna. And there's a verse in the Bhagavatam that says that Vasudeva Parayana Agham Dunvandi Kartsneya Nihara Iva Bhaskara, which means that the material world is what would be, how would make it pall into like an adjective? There's a cloud-like, it's foggy. That's what this verse says. Agham Dunvanti Kartsneya Nihara Iva Bhaskara. Bhaskara means the sun. And when fog comes up, when there's a pall over your part of the earth, you wait for the sun to come up. When we left Calcutta, we had to drive really slowly when we left Mayapur to get to Calcutta because there was so much fog, you could barely see. The material world's like that, but when the sun comes, it burns it off. So in a similar way, the ignorance of the material world and the results of that ignorance are burned off when Krishna becomes present. Well, so as living entities, we crave response. Have you ever been in a situation where someone said they'd call you back and you really wanted them to? Did you ever do this?
Yes.
Yeah, you keep checking your phone every 5 minutes, like, did they call yet? Did they text me? Anything? Did the little arrow turn blue? Like, at least they looked at it. We want a response. It's the living condition to want to feel that someone reciprocated with us. That's our happiness in this world, for some reciprocation. What if you won something, like one of those trophies out there? Did you see it on the front lobby? There were a couple of trophies that didn't get distributed the other day. Those nice-looking trophies. And what if you got a trophy, but there was nobody here to notice that you got it? Plus, there's nobody home to show either. It's like, no, a trophy. I want to show somebody. You take a picture, you put it on Facebook. I won something. We want somebody to respond. And if you put a picture on Facebook, I bet you go back and look. Did anybody look at it? Did they like it? Oh, somebody loved it. Oh. And this is the human experience. It's not just a humanist experience. Animals who are coming into consciousness also need reciprocation. If you have animals that are conscious enough to have affection, of course, some people prove or try to prove, I don't know if it's pseudoscience or if there's solid evidence about plants. We've heard a lot of things about plants reciprocating with the environment. But animals who are more conscious, they really crave reciprocation. The elephants in Mayapur, for their keeper, she goes away for a few days, and when she comes back, they come running. And they're just so excited to see her, and they want their well-wisher to acknowledge them. We want acknowledgement. Somebody to know we're here, to notice us. And this is what gives us real happiness. We can't live alone. And in our lives, the quality of the responsiveness equals the quality of the relationship. In any relationship, when we have a way of very lovingly responding to others, like we talk about in the circle of devotees, Rupa Goswami, our main teacher and acharya, in his quintessential book on bhakti, says there's 6 loving exchanges that should be enacted. And they have to do with exchange, speaking to people from your heart and telling them your realizations, listening to them respond to you, giving gifts. If you give a gift, you don't get a response. That's also kind of weird. And then there's prasadam, giving prasadam, taking prasadam. Everyone likes to get together. In Japan, when you go take prasadam at somebody's house, they cook some sushi. And you're taking prasad, and you say, oishi, means delicious. Oishi. So the person who cooked it's in the kitchen over there, but you're here eating, and say, oishi, so they can hear you. And we reciprocate. So the quality of the responsiveness that we have for others, that determines the quality of our relationship. It's the same we have with God. He's a person. Just the supreme person. I mean, there's nothing just about being the supreme person, but he is the supreme person. But I mean, he's also a person. We're persons, he's persons. Is it hot in here? What is this, the Sahara Desert we're trying to emulate? Nice to have air, even though it's raining outside. It's clean air. It's all washed by the rain. Might as well get some air. And no need to turn up the heat. And that's just my humble opinion. Quality of responsiveness equals a quality of relationship. This is a good formula to remember because our lives are happy because of our relationships, not anything else. Doesn't matter how much stuff you have. What matters is the quality of the responsiveness of your relationship. If it's love, then you're happy, even if you live in a simple way, right? Say yes. Okay. Without sufficient response, we lose interest in the relationship. You know, if somebody doesn't write you back for a long time, like there's this phenomenon nowadays, it's called ghosting. Have you ever heard of it? Actually, it's not a good thing that you've heard of it, that everyone knows about it, because this is something that gets around. People are doing, you have a relationship, and then you just figure like it's too much trouble, so you just don't write back anymore. It's horrible. People could get sick and die if they get ghosted. This is one of the worst things that could possibly happen. But it's true. After a while, if we don't get sufficient response in a relationship, then we note that, well, this person doesn't care for me enough. And maybe I'll find a response somewhere else, right? Like in any community, when we have a way that we can respond to one another in appropriate ways, then we feel engaged, we feel happy. Otherwise, we can just stay home by ourselves. But we don't like that. We like to be with others, but being with others doesn't mean being with others in the best of terms means that we have loving exchanges. Appropriate loving exchanges based on serving Krishna. So Krishna means love personified. He's the one who can reciprocate the most. After all, he knows us better than anyone. We're part and parcel of Krishna. And Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Veda ham samatitani vartamanani charjuna bhavishani chabhutani mam tu veda nakashchana. He says, I know everything, I know everyone. He's intimately familiar with our past also. And he still spends time with us. And he's the most equipped to reciprocate. This is something Krishna mentions in the Bhagavad Gita. He says, Suridam sarvabhutanam, that I am the loving friend. I'm your loving friend. Nobody can respond like Krishna can respond because he has unlimited capacity to respond. That's good to know, right? Yes. And in the Gita, Krishna mentions in several places that he does respond. There's a few coming to my mind right now. Shall I say them? Yes. Okay, here it goes. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam. So Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, if you develop this sense that, I want to find Krishna, even if you don't know Krishna. In other words, you don't have a context. There is Krishna, there's Radha Krishna, there's God the person even. If you develop this sense in your heart that, I know there's got to be someone or something out there that's supreme. In some teachable moment in your life, you have this angst where I want to know that person or I want to surrender. And Krishna says these things come up in the life of a living entity in the material world. For instance, Chatur Vida Bhajante Mam Jana Sukritino Arjuna Arto Jignasa Artarti. That in the existential life of the living being, there are various psychological states they come into. One of them is that they feel bereft of any monetary support, or they're suffering in some way, or sometimes they become inquisitive, and sometimes there's a heartfelt sense of God, and they want to find out more about Him. And if anybody has the inkling that I want to know God, they could form a prayer even if they don't know who God is. True or false? True. I'll give you an example. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, there's a great devotee who's not a human. And he has a tail. I'm not thinking about Hanuman. I'm thinking about someone bigger. Gajendra, he's an elephant. And Gajendra was in a jam. You ever been in a jam before? Yeah. So Gajendra was in a jam, and it came to his heart, I need help, and I'm going to reach out to the Supreme, because he realized something that Shukadeva Goswami says in the Bhagavatam, Deha patra kalatra deshu atvasaini susatsapi tesham pramoto nidhanam pasyanapina pashyati. And that is that nobody can really help us in this material world except for God. And also I could quote, Balasya neha sharanam pitaro nishringa nartasya chaganam udanvati majato no taptasya tat pratibidir aihanjasheshtas tavad vidvo tanuvitam. Pretty good. You guys are memorizing it. So there's a way in which only God can save us. Only God can ultimately help us. I won't. Hare Krishna. So Gajendra had this sense that only God can help me, but he didn't know who God was. And then he made an earnest request, please help me. As he prayed harder and harder, it came into his mind how to pray, because he had prayed in his last life, and then he remembered his prayers from his previous life. But the fact is that Krishna is waiting for any sense that we're calling out. Respond. So spond means that you send out a signal. Like, what are those little boxes in the airplane? Transponder. Bond. The spond word, right? It's bing, 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 sending out something. All of us send out a little signal too, right? Have you ever heard, like in a relationship, it's like, how'd you guys meet? And it's like, hey, he was sending me a signal. Everyone's got their transponder. I was like, did they see me? So we all have that way of sending out a little message. And that's where it starts. You don't have to join a religion. You just have to join that feeling that I want to know God. I want to be connected. And even if you did join into a particular religion, it still goes back to the same thing. If you get into this idea that I already know what I'm doing, and look at me, I'm so cool. I'm the senior most amongst all, and I know more than anybody about my scripture and so forth. And then you can actually forget that it's really our earnest request to be a servant of God or be saved by God. That's what calls His grace to us. It's not being part of a group per se. Thank you. But it's that feeling we have in our heart and the way we call out to God, please help me. And that's not a bad prayer, right? Then just say it. Please help me. That's it? You try it again? Okay, just put your arms in the air and say Krishna. Krishna! That's a powerful prayer. It means sending a transponder out. You've heard me say it before, but when the Malaysia airline flight went down, it didn't go down. I don't know, it must have somewhere, but it got lost. How do you lose an airplane? And it turned out the transponder wasn't on, so nobody could find it. And I felt anxiety about that. It just bothered me that those people, I was thinking how they were out on their own. They were expecting to be happily united with their family somewhere, and then they just got lost in the ocean. And nobody knew where they were. And then I was thinking, I was chanting in my backyard, and I was thinking that the transponder, I have mine turned off. And until you turn it on, that's when God finds you. He's always there. He knows where we are. Vedaham samatitani. He knows everything. But until I turn my transponder on and I say, I give up. No mas. Please help me. I want to serve you. I don't want to serve my senses. I'm tired of this experience of trying to please myself and never being pleased. Whatever the sentiment is, and we've talked about that, there are different attitudes by which one approaches God. But if that sincere attitude is there, then Krishna is always there, even if it's a molecule of sincerity in calling out, and he hears it immediately. He's always listening for it. Love personified. Imagine that. So he's superlatively and perfectly responsive, and he knows exactly how to reach out to us immediately. So the verse Tesham Satata Yuktanam says that you just try to be sincere. And Prabhupada told this too. 1975 in Vrindavan, we were asking Prabhupada, a group of us, about how to do book distribution and how to teach others how to do book distribution. He said, just teach people how to be sincere. He said, Krishna is the master. He went like this. Krishna is the master in the heart, and he gives every living entity their own genius. He said every living entity has their own genius, how to serve God. But if you ask for it sincerely, then he'll empower you from within the heart. He's responsive. That's the sum and substance of our relationship with Krishna. So we have to increase our appreciating capacity, and appreciation begins with gratitude. You can't feel love without gratitude. It starts there. So one thing about gratitude that I'll mention, can I turn this off? Is that gratitude requires there being personal intent. If you find a gift bag on the street, you're walking down Rengsdorf, and you find a little package on the side of the road, and you pick it up, and inside it's got a perfectly wrapped present for you, and you take it home. There's no real sense of gratitude because it wasn't meant for you. But if somebody drops off a package for you, they go out of their way and they give it to you, then you can feel gratitude because you feel the intention. It's the intention that's behind it that you feel. Can we turn that picture off, please? Go back to the Zoom room. So, devotional service means understanding our personal relationship with Krishna, and in the best of devotional service is intentionally serving Krishna, and then noticing the intentional way in which he's reciprocating with us. And when we begin to feel that and we develop gratitude for that situation, then we're happy. And this is the beginning of full-blown bhakti, or love for Krishna, entering more and more deeply within that intention and within that reciprocation with Krishna. Any reflections or questions will be responded to within 1 second. Sundarananda Prabhu. Is everyone okay? Yes. Are you warm enough? Yes. You're freezing? No? Okay, go ahead.
Hare Krishna.
We turn this transponder on.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you for the wonderful session. I have a question. My question is, how do we increase our consciousness of Krishna? Like many times we just, go through even devotional service mechanically, or just as a matter of getting it done. So how do we increase being conscious of Krishna at every moment?
One time I was traveling, and I can't even remember where it was. I think I was in Texas or something, and I was taking some devotees out on book distribution, and we were in a van. And there were a few devotees that I knew, and somebody jumped in the van that I didn't know. And I started to notice as we were driving around and stopping someplace and getting out and then getting back in, driving somewhere else, that no matter where we went, whether we were inside the van or outside the van, this devotee was either chanting or reading something very enthusiastically. And after about the third stop, and I became aware, more and more aware of this person, I thought, well, I got to raise my consciousness to this level just because of his presence. And one of the ways that we can very quickly increase our awareness of Krishna and our enthusiasm to reciprocate with him or to extend ourselves to him in devotional service is to be around others who have such enthusiasm. It rubs off on us. Therefore, it is said in the Shastras, Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Shastra Koi, Lava Matra Sadhu Sangha. Sarva Siddhi Hoy means that you can attain perfection just by association, which is kind of amazing. And on the other side, if you'd like to languish in the material world and end up in a miserable condition, anyone? No, not so much. The Shastra says that, well, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Asatsanga, Tyagi e Vaishnavachar, Asatsanga. He said, give up Asatsanga Tyag e Vaishnavachar. He said, just avoid those who are asat. Asat means they're either not truthful or they're dedicated to the illusion. Because the way of the material world, according to Devamrita Swami in his book, Hiding an Unnatural Happiness, is the material world is an agreement amongst those who would like to be conditioned souls and stay in darkness. And what you get is mass consensual trance in the illusory material energy. And if you find somebody who's very deliberately given up that commitment to the material world, and you get association, then you'll be automatically lifted and very quickly. So we try to create, all of us, right, who are practicing devotional service, we try to go from one place to the next where we get that kind of association. Or we try to be that kind of association because that's very enlightening also. You want to try going to Market and Pal and see what it feels like to share your enthusiasm with somebody about the idea that there is a Supreme Personality of Godhead and there's an ordered system, a discipline, a tradition that you could actually take up. And of course, that may seem or sound condescending to some people, but for those who are in the practice themselves and appreciating it and feeling joyful, why not share it? Makes sense, right? What to speak of the fact that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu just goes, share it. So if you do that also, and you get a variety of responses, then when you get the worst of responses, that sometimes is the most enlivening, because it seems so inordinate that someone would deny out of hand the opportunity to look at a book of wisdom. Doesn't it seem? It always does to me. Like, why would you just say you're not interested if you don't even know what it is? Because there's a sense that this person's trying to tell me about God. So we're not going there. That's called blind doubt. So all the ways in which we're engaging, having association with devotees, if you just get around somebody who's enthusiastic, then you'll also pick up that consciousness, yes. And then Bhakti and Divya will take right after Krishna Saka.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. I have a question. So there was a slide with we crave response, we want acknowledgement. So I have a question on it. There is sometimes an insecurity that if I am not getting acknowledged or if I'm not getting attention, I'm worthless. I saw a video of Chaitanya Charan Prabhu on it, short. So he said if we are not getting attention, then there is a insecurity that I'm worthless. So how to overcome that insecurity, and if it is good or bad, or where is the line?
Well, we really do need acknowledgement. And therefore, it's important to have relationship with mentors, gurus, other devotees, oneself in this world. Because we have so many roles that we play, not the least of which I am this body, which is, it's a hard gig. And we get confused because we have so many roles to play. And people look at us differently, and then we try to maintain a particular stature, and that's very difficult. So we need encouragement and we need acknowledgement also. And when you're like one of the points of coaching, people who coach others who are already expert. Remember Andre Agassi, he was top of his game, I forget when, in the 1980s maybe. I don't know, 90s, thank you, tennis buffs. 1990s. And his coach was Brad Gilbert. He was not as good as Andre Agassi, otherwise he would have been out there playing him. Plus he was older than him, probably past his prime. But what did he do? He just stand there and acknowledge him while he was playing. Of course, tennis coaches can't say anything while their client is on the court. You know that, right? You can't tell them anything. You got to wait till afterwards. But the very fact that there's somebody there acknowledging. I remember being in sports also. That's the main thing. People are in the stands. And if you're running around the corner, they're all going, yay. They're like, okay, I'll run faster. So sadhu sangha also means acknowledgement. And if you're not feeling direct acknowledgement from Krishna, we may not be that perceptive. And in the course of our material life, it's hard to sort out one from the other, because this just happened. Krishna must hate me, because why would he do this to me? So many things go wrong in the material world. So you have to have somebody who's there with you, says, no, first of all, you're doing fine. Second of all, it has nothing to do with Krishna punishing you. It's just living in the material world. There's going to be some bumpy ride here somewhere. You need acknowledgement. Acknowledgement. Can you look up the word and see what all the parts are? That's why we give you the big bucks over there in the corner. Acknowledgement has something to do with gyan, because a knowingness. Somebody has to be aware. So, of course, we shouldn't just do devotional service for some superficial reason that we want to be acknowledged as being great or something like that. But we do need to have that sense that somebody's watching out for us and acknowledging that we're doing it. Even if they acknowledge something and they say, well, you didn't do it right. That's a kind of love also. You could have done a little more like this and not like that. Of course, it's nice if they say it in a way that we don't become traumatized. That's always helpful. What does it come from?
Acknowledge is a verb, and it comes from eknow, which means understand, come to recognize, and kawan, recognize.
Anything more?
It's to admit or show one's knowledge.
Where does it come from? Anything more?
Old English.
Okay. Anyway, that's the answer to that question for now. And now we have Bhakti and Divya all the way from Atlanta, Georgia. Let's hear it for Atlanta. Says ISV, what's going on? What happened to you, Divya? We lost her. Okay. So now we're going to...
Sorry, I forgot to unmute.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Maharaj. I have a question come realization. We hear about love for God all the time. I want to understand, how do you define love for God? And recently, what we saw with the Rama Mandir inauguration, and the whole country chanting and celebrating and dancing. it gave me so much of joy uh, and happiness, and it also bewildered me because I was wondering. I had always had attachment with Lord Ramchandra from the childhood, but I'm kind of I don't feel I'm at the level that to feel the love for God. So I want to understand how you define
There are,
love for God.
there are different levels. And this is described by our acharyas, or the great teachers who exemplify the process of bhakti. So they describe a progression. One of the progressive ways they describe adau shraddha tata sadhusangata bhajana kriya tato narta nivriti set tato nishta ruchis tata. I'll just end there. There's a chain of, there are degrees of development of love of God. And it starts with a sense of appreciation. This is called shraddha. If somebody sees devotees chanting on University Avenue on a Saturday night, Saturday, not Friday, and they walk by and they think they have no idea what it is. Like we did a video a while ago, and there was this woman that was the devotees interviewed, and she said, I don't know who these guys are, what they are, but it's really nice. We really like this. This is the awakening of shraddha, or appreciation for the holy name. Even if you don't know what it is, but you think, oh yeah, that sounds good. I think it's a good idea. I wish more people did this. So, and then it can become thickened, and when it thickens, then the expression of love is that you want to come and talk to the people who are doing it. And then you maybe want to come be with them a little bit more. This is called sadhu sangha. And then be careful, because if you get sadhu sangha, then you're going to want to do what they're doing. It's like, what do you guys do? We sit here and chant, and then come to the temple, we have festivals, we offer our food. It's like, okay, I'll do that. And then they'll say, I'm really going to do it, and that's bhajana kriya, which means, I'm leaning into it, dedicating myself to it. And then there's a time in which you live with the devotees and you learn to sort out the material from the spiritual. And that's like swimming across an ocean. Anybody here ever done that? Yeah, that's called a narta nivriti. We realize that I'm swimming in an ocean of faults, and how do I come to the end of it? One day at a time. And keep making comebacks every morning. And then you've come to the shore, and you have nishta. Nishta means you have a place to stand. You're not swimming in the ocean anymore, and you can stand on your own 2 feet. It's hada rajas tamo bhava, chaitaiter navidam. Yeah, there's a way in which it's like you start to realize for yourself, wow, actually I'm getting some spiritual power here. I really feel that I'm not getting pushed around anymore by the material world, that I only want. You can know for yourself. This is the sweetest revelation, to say, like, I only want Krishna. I don't want anything else. Even if you're fully involved in the material world, and it seems like you're up to your neck, but in your heart, you go, actually, I don't want anything but Krishna. Then you're coming to nishta, and there's this sense of really having a spiritual identity. And then comes a taste. So you gotta, as they say, wait for it. It doesn't come right away, some taste, unless it's a free sample. So all these are stages of love of God. And there are plenty of other signposts along the way. For instance, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught the preliminary stage, which is beyond the next stage, which is called ruchi. And then after ruchi comes asakti. And then comes bhava. And bhava means when the heart starts to melt. And you're truly feeling emotions for God in your heart. And there's 9 symptoms of that. And the first one is called shantir, and then avyarta kalatvam, virakti, manashunyata. So I'll give some of the meanings. The first one, shantir, means that it's a sense of forgiveness. It's exemplified by Parikshit Maharaj. When he got cursed to die in 7 days, some little kid playing with his friends, just to show off, like, see that king over there? he's going to die in 7 days. He insulted my father. And King Parikshit said, thank you. I'll take it. All I want to do is just go on chanting about God. Shanta avyarta kalatvam means you don't want to waste any time. So if you notice this urge in you, like, I can't waste another second, that's you're starting to get bhava. And virakti means that you're detached from the goings on in the material world. It doesn't mean you become antisocial. It doesn't mean you become dysfunctional. It just means that you do everything you have to do, but you do it methodically but dispassionately. And man and shunyata, you're free from man. You know what man is? Man means you think you're the man. I'm the man. You know, whatever you're doing is like, hey, here I am. And so manya shunyata means you're free from that sense that I have to be the center of attention. I'm the center of everything. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the acharyas have given us these signposts so we know how am I developing. You can see where you are along the way. And everything is connected to Krishna. You're coming closer at every step. And even if you give up and you say, I'm not going to do this anymore, well, too late. Krishna is going to drag you. So you can do it the easy way or the hard way. Easy way is just surrender to Krishna, right? Hard way is kicking and screaming. Anyway, now we're going to try to chant the names Hare Krishna Rama. Everyone say Hare Krishna Rama. Hare Krishna Rama. And if you go to India, someone might see your tilak or neck beads and they'll say, are you a Hare Rama Hare Krishna? What would you say? Yes. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Are you a Hare Rama Hare Krishna? Yes. Yeah. See, your life's perfect then. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Sri Mate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gaudavani Prasharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya. Next slide. Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Turn your transponder on. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Everybody. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Get ready now. Back to Godhead. Done. Holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Sagara Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Premanande. Bhaktabar, on the Madanga, on the Bhakti, harmonium, on the Vaisesika, on the kartals, for the Hare Krishna singers, for the Hare Krishna dancer, for everybody in Mountain View, all over the Bay Area, all over America, all over the world. Go Premanande! Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. So now, for the main part of our program tonight is the Hare Krishna dance party. Never miss a chance to dance. So we're going to move all the asanas to the back. We have a way of organizing them back there. We're going to roll up this carpet and reveal to you the reason we bought this building in the first place for this dance floor. This is original. It's a special wood. It's got a little spring to it. So feel free. If you can jump as high as Jagat Trata, we'll give you one of those trophies we have. No, don't try. Just, you know. But dancing to Hare Krishna, when you put the two together, then you can attain love of God in one evening. So make sure to chant from your heart, turn your transponder on, and then dance for Krishna. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming. We'll see you on the dance floor in about 3 minutes. Hare Krishna. Namo Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Shunyavadi Paschatya Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Dastakam Bhaktarupa Sarupakam. Start at the top of the that verse from the Jagannath. Jagannathashtakam Yapatet Parakasati Sarvapapa Vishuyatma Vishnutam Sagachati Hare Krishna Hare Rama Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hit that drum. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Hare. So Premanande. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Rama. Rama Hare Hare. Amanida Madadena Kirtaniya Sada Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama Hare Rama Kevalam Namaste Akiranyata. You can stand or you can bow. Either one's fine. Jayum Vishnupat Paramahamsa Prevadi Pachachashtu Tarashti Shimad Pai Charanadam Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jayam Vishnupat Paramahamsa Privati Vicharjastu Tarashti Shrimad Shri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosai Maharaj ki jai. Standing is fine. Ananta Koti Vaishnavini ki jai. Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem Jagaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrini ki jai. Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gokubinath Shamakund, Radhakund, Giri Govardhan ki jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Sri Mayapur Navadip Dham ki jai. Shri Jagannath Puri Dham ki jai. Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi ki jai. Jamuna Devi Ganga Devi ki jai. Sambheta Bhakti Vrinda ki jai. All glorious to some devotees. All glorious to some devotees. All glorious to some devotees. More Premanande Hari Hari Bol. So we're going to sing to Lord Nrsingadev because he came here to ISV to give us protection from our own material desires. And praying to Lord Nrsingadev means that we take shelter from the storm of the material world, storm of material desires. Also, since Lord Nrsingadev came here on 9/11, we took it that he's watching over us, and each time one of our members or a family member, anybody related to Krishna consciousness or otherwise, goes through trouble, we pray to Lord Nrsingadev that he may give special mercy to that person. So Ananda Kishore Das Mamaji, maternal uncle. Yeah, that's the word, Mamaji. Right? Yeah, Ananda Kishore Prabhu's Mamaji, maternal uncle, passed away on Thursday. Dear Lord Nrsingadev, if you so desire, please give shelter to Ananda Kishore Prabhu's maternal uncle who passed away on Thursday. We ask humbly that you could give him passage back home, back to Godhead, and eternal shelter at your lotus feet. Thank you for considering our request. Is any of the little kids in the front row, you want to sing the Nrsinga prayers? Which one of you? Vote. It's a majority rules up there. Democracy. Which one of you wants to sing it? You can sing it together. Come back here. Come sing. Come on. You want to sing? You play harmonium too? She'll play flute. Okay, knock 'em alive.
Namaste Narasimhaya.
Krishna. Welcome to ISKCON of Silicon Valley. I personally am very glad to see such a huge turnout despite the weather. Thank you for joining us here today. We'd like to thank His Grace Vaisesika Prabhu for giving such a wonderful seminar and also for leading the Gaur Aarti. And we were especially treated to Raja's sweet Nishingadev prayers. By a quick show of hands, do we have anybody who's here for the first time at ISV? Please raise your hand. Wow, thank you. Welcome. Welcome. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you. For all our newcomers, let's chant together. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. If there's any questions or you have any requests, please reach out to myself or Shri Gopal Prabhu here, and we'd be glad to help you. We also want to take this opportunity to thank all of those who have joined us online. We have several channels from which a lot of people tune in from all over the world, so let's thank our online audience for joining. We have two sponsors for today. His Grace, I apologize. Mohan Rao Katha Prabhu and his wife, Chamundeshwari, are sponsoring the Saturday feast on the occasion of their daughter Bhargavi's birthday. Thank you, Prabhu. We will give him the sweet after. His Grace Balaram Vilas Prabhu and Harita Mataji are sponsoring on the occasion of their son Anirudh's birthday. Thank you so much to Mohan Rao Prabhu and Balaram Vilas Prabhu for your sponsorships. We do have a new opportunity that's come up. Since we have such a huge crowd and our community is expanding, we have the opportunity to sponsor the Saturday feast as well. So that is $221, I believe. And you can, please reach out to us if you're interested to sponsor the Saturday feast. Now, speaking of the feast, the prasadam arrangements will be different because of the weather outside. So if you see these two double doors on the right of Srila Prabhupada, we can line up such that you can exit that door. The prasadam will be served near the $1 million wall, and you can come out on the door that's there, directly right behind you. To summarize, you exit through the double doors, grab your prasadam, and come back through those doors. And there will be devotees to guide you throughout the process. And we have, lastly, the cook's announcement.
Hare Krishna. Today's cooks for the Sunday feast were ISV youth, Govind Charan Prabhu, Krishna Swarupa Prabhu, Shyam Sundar Prabhu, Tadya Seva Prabhu, Sachinta Krishna Prabhu, Priya Kishori Mataji, Neha Mataji, Divya Kumari Mataji, and the lead cook is Krishani Mataji.
We can all honor prasadam inside the temple hall. After prasadam has been honored, we have another program starting at 7 p.m. So please volunteer to help clean the temple room so that we can be ready for the program at 7. Thank you so much for coming. Hare Krishna.
Just one announcement here. At the end of the program, please turn in all the mics here in the control center. Just don't leave them anywhere, because sometimes we are searching for a long time to find a mic. Please turn in all the mics here in the control center.
How many devotees, anyone present here has taken geometry? Geometry? Anybody know how to? Trigonometry. A ruler. Have you ever used a ruler? Okay. Or a compass. So tonight when you come back in for prasadam, try to economize on space by picking angles that will be most efficient. We have one room in which to take prasadam, and if all the engineers who are present today, any engineers? No engineers here tonight. Can figure out how to efficiently seat everybody so that everyone has space in here, then we'll give away special prizes afterwards. Yes, extra prasadam.
Prabhu, one more announcement. We have another spontaneous sponsor here. Swati Mataji here is sponsoring for her mother's Sparsha.
Hare Krishna. Mom left for Vaikunt 3 years ago, and I remember asking her once why Krishna and Radha looked so happy always, and she said because their joy is in giving, and I believe her joy was in that too, in whether it was an unconditional attention or love, care, or a sumptuous meal. So we're here because she's alive in our hearts, and we would like to keep the joy going. Hare Krishna.
We also had a couple more very helpful helpers in the kitchen whose names weren't announced. We had Madhuri, Saki, Bharat, Geeta Priya, Anushri, and Niharika, and Brajaras Bhavana, and Tejas, and Par. All of the youth, they help with the cooking and cleaning. And Balaram.
Now we're going to sing our favorite song. It comes from Bengal, all the way from Bengal. And this song is a joyful song, although it has a little bit of a sober beginning. It says that this body is a place of ignorance and senses are networks past leading to death. But Krishna is so kind. He's given us prasadam, the spiritual food. Just by honoring prasadam, we can conquer the tongue, which is the most voracious of all senses, and by that, we can come gradually to love for God and go back home, back to Godhead. Does that sound like a good idea? Yes. Let's sing it together. Baire, Shari Dadi Jaja, Jorendriya, Ahe Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Please come take prasadam.